Greetings, everybody. I hope that everyone is good today. So, today we're going to be looking at the Volatility 75 index, aka Vix75. So, let's get straight into it. So, I have the monthly chart open, and already the first thing that I can already see is that price is in the process of creating what seems to be an M formation in this manner, with the neckline being in this region over here. However, price still very much creating the second leg of that M structure, and at this point in time, we can't really say the M formation is formed, right? We will consider it to be a relevant information once price comes to this region, breaks the neckline in this manner. That's when we'd say it's a proper M structure, right? Because from this point, what we would expect is for price to retest that neckline, and this is where we would look for potential selling opportunities on the smaller time frames, right? And the expectation is that from here, price should move on down, right? Maybe to around this region over here as the first take profit, because we have this particular candlestick right there, which is a bearish candlestick with a long lower wick and a small body. So what this tells us is that in this region we have a whole lot of liquidity that's sitting there, and price has to at some point come back to this level to retest it and then possibly hit up again. And in this region we might see actually a W formation, the neckline being somewhere here, and we would wait for price to come back to retest the neckline, and we would look for potential buying opportunities, right? So let's continue. So what else do we see on this particular monthly chart which is of interest? Another thing that is very important that I can already see is that in this region over here we had a W formation, right, with the neckline being there. We saw price going up and then coming down to retest this W formation, testing that neckline, and then we saw it going up again, right? Um, so what else do we see on this particular chart? Another thing that is very important is that we have this candlestick over here, which is a rejection candlestick. So we had resistance here, and this candlestick rejected that area. We also had this candlestick formation here, which is an inside bar, which also rejected that area. So this tells me that chances are high that we will indeed see the formation of that M formation, right? With at least the neckline being broken and price potentially going down, right? However, as I said, this is still very much information and nothing has been confirmed at this stage. So let's continue. So what I'm gonna do right now is head over to the weekly chart. So here we are on the weekly chart. Let's see. What do we see on the weekly chart? So we spoke about that huge M structure that's developing on the monthly chart. However, over and above that, on this particular chart, we also had what seems to be a W formation forming with the neckline being here. However, at this point in time, I would say that this W structure is no longer relevant because price broke the neckline, then came back to retest it, then went up again and came back to retest it again, and it actually broke and it didn't hold. So we can just disregard this particular W structure. So what else do we see on this particular um, weekly chart of VIX 75? Another thing that I can see, which is very interesting, is the fact that we have this candlestick over here, which is a bullish candlestick with a small body and a long upper wick. So this tells us that we have a whole lot of liquidity that's sitting up there, and that at some point price has to come back to this area to grab some of that liquidity, right? So let's continue. So what else do we see? We also have this candlestick right here, which is a bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. So by now we know that there's liquidity sitting down here, right? Another thing that is interesting is that we have a very strong area of support in this region. This support line is actually the neckline of that huge M structure that we spoke about, right? And price, I think, has to come to this region. And as I said, once it breaks this region, we would look for price to head back to the neckline, or um, support turned into resistance, and this is where we would look for potential selling opportunities, right? We also have this candlestick over here, which is a bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. Another one is here in the corner. I don't know if you can see it. So in this area as well, we have a whole lot of liquidity sitting down there. So there's plenty of room for price to actually head down, given the candlesticks that I've just spoke about. So let's continue. So what else do we see on this particular chart that is very interesting? I don't see much at this stage. So let's continue. From here, I'm going to head over to the daily chart. So here we are on the daily chart. The first thing that I'm going to do is actually add my channel. Let's see, how would I add my channel on this particular daily chart? Let's see. Just bear with me, guys. Let's see, where would I add my channel? How would I position it? Okay, there we go. So I would add my channel in this manner. Just bear with me, guys. Let's see. So there goes my channel, and then I'm just gonna make it a black color. In fact, you know what, I'm just gonna leave it as it is. Blue is fine. So let's continue. So on the daily chart, what do we see that is of interest? So on this particular chart, I can see that just bear with me, guys. I can see that price had created a head and shoulders pattern in this manner, right? With this being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this being the right hand shoulder. Right? Excuse me. Let me actually draw it properly so that you guys can see it. That's the left shoulder, that's the head, that's the right shoulder, right? And we saw price coming down. So what else do we see on this chart? So price also created an M formation in this region with the neckline being there. Price went down, then came up to retest that neckline, and then went down. So on the lower charts, we would have looked for potential selling opportunities in this region, and our first take profit, had we sold in this region, would have been here, and our second take profit would have been here. Why do I say here at this level? That is because we have a W formation in this range, And as you know by now, a lot of traders trade based on M and W formations. So for sure, we have a lot of stop losses, or rather, yes, stop losses that are below this W formation. Because as I say, a lot of traders entered based on this um W formation, entering buys, that is, right? So it makes sense that price has to come to this level to trigger all those stop losses that are below this W formation in this region. So let's continue. So what else do we see on this particular chart that is interesting, right? So for now, what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to just add a neckline in this region. Just bear with me. Um, I'm going to add a neckline in this region so that we don't forget about that we have an overextended information there. So just bear with me, guys. Okay, so there goes our neckline, right? So from here, what I'm gonna do is head over to the H4 chart. Just bear with me, guys. Okay, here we are. Um, okay, there we are. So let's continue. The first thing that I'm going to do on this H4 chart is add my channel. I'll add it in this manner. Let's see. There goes my H4 chart. There we go. All right. And I'm just gonna zoom in a bit so we can see what exactly it is that we're working with. So remember we had a huge information over here on the daily chart with the neckline being there, right? As much as we have that, we also have another information here with the neckline being there. I hope you guys can see that. Let me just redraw it again. Here's the information on the H4 chart, right? So we never got to see price breaking the neckline rather, and then coming back to retest that neckline of that M structure. Had price returned to this section or to this area, we would have looked for potential selling opportunities, right? So let's continue. What else do we see on this chart that is interesting or significant? Let's see. So just to zoom out a bit, we can see that currently on the H4 chart, right, price seems to be testing excuse me, guys, let me just actually do this quickly. Just bear with me. Price on the H4 chart seems to be testing this daily channel that we drew earlier, right? And we can see that um it's also in the process of creating what seems to be a head and shoulders pattern, with this being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this being the right hand shoulder. However, it is still very much in development. It has not yet formed, right? We also have the neckline being there in this region, or we could say that we have a very strong area of resistance in this region. And what may actually happen is price may continue to form this particular inverted head and shoulders pattern and actually bounce here and then come down again, as opposed to going this way again. So we have to just keep monitoring price just to see what will happen. But for now, I do not see any buying or selling opportunities. Um, so what else do we see on this chart that is significant? So we have this candlestick over here, as well as this one. They are both bullish candlesticks with small bodies and long upper wicks. So this tells us within this region right here, we have a whole lot of liquidity that's sitting there. Also, the very same area is a very strong area of resistance. And like I said, guys, as much as we have what seems to be this inverted head and shoulders pattern, price may come to this level where we have this strong resistance and then go down, or it may head to this level and grab the liquidity that's sitting here and then come down or continue going up, right? But for now, I do not see any selling opportunities whatsoever. What I would do is I would wait for price to give me more reasons to look for a potential buy, right? But for now, as I said, we have this level over here where this channel which we drew on the daily chart is being tested. We also have what seems to be a head and shoulders pattern developing, right? With the neckline being in this region. So as things stand, it looks like price may potentially push up. However, we need more reasons. We need more confirmation. At this point, we cannot buy or sell, as far as I'm concerned. So from here, I'm just gonna head to the H1 chart just to gather more evidence. So here we are on the H1 chart. So we can see that price at the moment is moving sideways. It's consolidating, right? It's moving sideways. It's moving sideways. We also have this candlestick over here. It's a bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. So this means we have a whole lot of liquidity that's sitting there as well. And it may be that price may come down to grab some of that liquidity before going up again. But as I say, for now, I do not see any opportunities, right? Another very interesting thing is that we have this candlestick. It's a bullish candlestick with a small body and a long upper wick. Another one is here at this region. So price may go up to trigger that liquidity, right? Actually, this one is no longer relevant because price actually went up to trigger that liquidity. So we can just ignore this one. It's no longer relevant, right? So just to recap, let me go back to the H4 chart. In fact, let me go back to the daily chart. So on the daily chart, we can see that price has given us a pin bar, which suggests that we may see some sort of a reversal, right? And on the H4 chart, we had that inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? Which also indicates that we might see a reversal, right? So that's it, guys. And as far as Vix75 is concerned, we might see an actual reversal. However, we need further confirmation, and we can't just buy at this stage, right? So that is it, guys. If you have any further questions or comments, just make them in the comment section. And thank you for watching. And yeah, peace out.